Picture the exact moment, the sliding glass doors of a major international airport part for you.
Oh, yeah?
It's not just a physical transition, right? It is a profound sensory assault.
Absolutely.
You are immediately hit with a wall of sound,
Yeah.
layered announcements in multiple languages, the rhythmic clatter of thousands of wheels on hard tile, the hum of immense crowds.
Yeah, it's intense.
It really is. And the ceiling is dizzyingly high. And suspended from it are these enormous illuminated signs directing you to, departures, arrivals, baggage drop, customs.
Right.
And if English isn't your native language, every single one of those signs demands immediate cognitive translation.
It's a fascinating environment from a neurological perspective, honestly.
That's so.
Well, for most people, stepping into an international airport triggers a low-grade, persistent amygdala response.
Wow.
Yeah, the brain instantly recognizes it as a high-stakes, time-sensitive environment.
Because of all the noise and the crowd.
Exactly. He starts prioritizing spatial awareness and threat detection over higher-order executive functions.
Which explains that incredibly common phenomenon where you step up to the check-in counter and the agent asks you a seemingly basic question and suddenly,
Just blank.
yes, nothing. Every English vocabulary word you have spent years studying just evaporates from your brain.
It's so common.
And you're acutely aware of the 50 exhausted people in line behind you.
Mm-hmm.
The clock is ticking down to your flight and the agent is just staring at you waiting for an answer.
Precisely. And that evaporation of language, it isn't a failure of your education.
Right.
It is a biological function of cognitive overload. Your brain is dumping what it considers non-essential working memory.
Like second language retrieval.
Exactly, like second language retrieval, just to deal with the immediate stress of the environment. You are left trying to reconstruct a complex language while actively navigating a fight-or-flight response. It's a universal and deeply uncomfortable experience.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the entire mission of our deep dive today is to fundamentally rewire how we experience that environment.
Yes.
We are looking at a comprehensive survival guide designed specifically for non-native speakers navigating English-speaking airports. But what is so striking about this material isn't just the vocabulary lists, it's the underlying philosophy.
Right.
The airport isn't a chaotic free-for-all. It is an algorithmic machine.
That is the crucial mental shift.
Yeah.
Anxiety thrives in ambiguity.
Yeah.
But an international airport is arguably one of the least ambiguous, most tightly regulated, formulaic environments on the planet.
It's all systems.
Entirely. The operational logic at JFK in New York is virtually identical to logic at Heathrow in London or Sydney in Australia.
Because they have to be.
Exactly. The systems demand the exact same inputs from passengers.
Okay.
So if you treat your preparation not as a broad language test, but as a highly specific mental exercise.
Like memorizing lines for a play.
Yes, memorizing the exact scripts required to trigger the right outcomes in this machine, you completely eliminate the unknown.
So it's less about achieving total fluency and more about just giving the system the inputs it needs so you can pass through it seamlessly.
Precisely.
But before we even get to the high-stakes conversations, there is a physical navigation barrier.
Oh, the terminology.
Yeah, the terminology used on airport signage often doesn't match standard classroom English.
No, it doesn't.
And here is where the divergence between American English and British English becomes a serious logistical hurdle.
The terminology track is the first filter of the airport machine.
Yeah.
The divergence here is largely historical. British English often retains older institutional terminology,
Right.
whereas American English leans toward literal pragmatism.
Oh, give me an example.
Well, for instance, if you have a long layover in London and you want to drop your bags to explore the city, you are looking for a sign that says left luggage.
Which, to an American English learner, sounds like a lost and found department.
Right, like you accidentally...
If your luggage behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it actually dates back to the railway era when passengers would literally leave their heavy trunks with the station master before boarding.
Oh, I see.
In the U.S., the pragmatism kicks in, and the sign simply reads luggage storage.
That makes so much more sense.
It does. And the same historical divergence applies to currency. In the U.S., it is a straightforward currency exchange.
Yeah.
In the U.K., owing to the historical French influence on British institutional language, you must look for the Bureau de Change.
Oh, wow, Bureau de Change. It helps to have that historical memory hook, though.
It does.
It makes the terms stick. So if you're looking for a bathroom in the U.S., you follow signs for restrooms.
Right.
But in the U.K., it's toilets or the loo.
Mm-hmm.
And for your bags, the U.S. uses a luggage cart while the U.K. uses a trolley.
Exactly.
But I have a practical question about this. I always thought English was just English, but if I am in Heathrow and I ask a staff member for a cart instead of a trolley, they're still going to understand me, right?
Well, yes, a staff member might deduce what you mean.
So is the key here just memorizing two separate dictionaries, or is it about context? Like, are we just trying to avoid looking like naive tourists, or is there a structural reason to memorize both sets?
It is entirely about operational efficiency, not vanity.
Okay.
Think about the broader geography of the airport. These structures are rigidly separated by function, usually by floor.
Right, like arrivals versus departures.
Exactly. Departures is where flights go out, arrivals is where they come in. If you misunderstand a localized term on a sign and follow the wrong stream of foot traffic, you don't just end up in the wrong line.
Oh, I see where you're going.
You end up on the wrong floor or in a completely different terminal.
And time is the one currency you cannot afford to waste at an airport.
Exactly.
You burn 30 minutes navigating back from the wrong terminal, and suddenly you're sprinting to your gate.
Precisely. Knowing the localized vocabulary prevents that initial misdirection, keeping your cognitive load low so you have the mental energy for the actual bottlenecks.
Which brings us to the most notorious bottleneck of all.
The security checkpoint.
The security checkpoint. Think of security not as a police checkpoint, but as a highly calibrated industrial assembly line where you, the passenger, are the product moving down the conveyor belt.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, and if you have a metal belt buckle on or a water bottle in your bag, you have essentially jammed the machinery.
That is the perfect way to look at it.
Yeah.
And the staff operating that assembly line are trained to look for one thing:
What's that?
baseline deviations.
Okay.
They need everyone to move in a predictable, standardized way.
Right. So the instructions are barked out rapidly. Remove your shoes, take your laptop out of your bag, place all electronics in a separate bin.
Or tray in British English.
Right, Trey. But the natural instinct when someone in a uniform starts yelling instructions in your second language is to freeze up.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like a weird choreographed dance everyone pretends to know, but nobody actually does.
Yeah.
You enter a reactive state, trying to translate their command while 50 people glare at you. And it's terrifying when someone yells at you to throw away your liquids because of the 100-milliliter rule.
What's fascinating here is the mental exercise required to stay calm.
Okay?
By anticipating the script, you shift your brain from a reactive state to a proactive state.
I see.
You already know the laptop requires a separate bin. You already know your jacket must come off.
Right.
You perform the actions before the command is even finished.
So you don't even have to translate what they're saying.
Exactly. You remain part of the baseline, which means you remain invisible to the security apparatus.
But what about when you break the baseline intentionally? The source material puts a massive emphasis on declaring medical items.
Yes, this is crucial.
If you have a pacemaker, a continuous glucose monitor, or an insulin pump, you cannot just walk through a millimeter wave scanner.
No, you can't. This is a critical safety protocol. You never want to surprise an aviation security officer with an anomaly attached to your body.
Right, that would cause a scene.
You must preempt the machine. The exact operational script to memorize here is: I have a medical device. Do I need to declare it?
I have a medical device. Do I need to declare it? It is incredibly clear.
It is.
You are alerting them to a non-standard variable, but framing it as a procedural question.
Right, and they will immediately divert you to a manual pat-down, which keeps the main assembly line moving.
Exactly. You are managing their expectations.
Yes.
Let's talk about a more common scenario, though. Human error.
Oh, sure.
You're trying to be proactive, you walk through the metal detector, and it blares.
Always stressful.
And you realize you left your house keys in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The instinct here is usually a flurry of panicked apologies. You know, oh my God, I'm so sorry I forgot. English isn't my first language.
And that flurry of panic introduces chaos into an environment designed to eliminate chaos.
Yeah, they don't want to hear a whole story.
Exactly. The solution provided in the guide is brilliantly efficient. You strip the emotion out completely and just state the facts.
Yep. Okay, what's the script?
I'm sorry, I forgot to empty my pockets. Let me do that.
Let me do that now. It's almost like you're hitting the reset button on the conveyor belt.
Yes.
You aren't asking for permission to fix it, and you aren't over-explaining. You are naming the problem, proposing the solution, and executing it.
It signals compliance and competence.
Right.
The security officer realizes you understand the parameters of the system. You made an error, you identified it, and you are correcting it.
So simple.
They don't have to manage your emotions. They just have to wait 5 seconds for you to put the keys in the bin.
So you clear the assembly line, you board the plane, cross an ocean, and land.
But the tension doesn't drop.
No, because now you face the final and, frankly, most legally perilous checkpoint, immigration.
Yes.
You are standing at a podium in front of a government official whose sole job is to decide if you can enter the country, to verify that you are not a threat and that you intend to leave when you're supposed to.
Passport control is the highest stakes conversation you will have. It is the ultimate test of the algorithmic inputs we discussed earlier.
I'd imagine the instinct for a tired traveler at immigration is to be as friendly, chatty, and accommodating as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
You want to prove you are a good person, so if they ask how long you're staying, you might say, just a couple of weeks. I'm really excited to see New York, probably just staying at a hotel near Times Square.
Right.
But based on the mechanics we're discussing, that sounds like the worst possible strategy because it introduces a ton of unverified variables.
It is a disastrous strategy.
Wow.
Immigration officers are not hospitality staff. They are border enforcement.
That's a good point.
When you apply for a visa, you agree to a strict set of legal parameters. The officer's job is to ask questions to verify that your actual travel plans align with those parameters. They do not want to chat. They want data points.
So when the officer asks, how long will you be staying in the country, you strip away the conversational filler entirely.
Yes.
You don't say a couple of rinse. You say 2 weeks. I will be returning on the 23rd.
Correct. And when they ask where will you be staying, you do not say around Manhattan.
Right.
You provide the exact verifiable data. I am staying at the Hilton Hotel in downtown Manhattan.
So specificity matters.
Incredibly. Vague answers force the officer to assume you do not have a concrete plan.
And if you don't have a plan,
You are a risk for overstaying your visa. Specific, data-driven answers immediately satisfy their internal checklist.
that brings up a fascinating psychological hurdle mentioned in the guide.
What's that?
What happens if the officer asks a question, and because of their accent or the ambient noise, you simply do not understand them?
Yes.
The guide zeroes in on this important sentence. Could you repeat that, please? I want to make sure I understand correctly.
Yes.
But I want to push back on this a little bit. It feels completely counterintuitive to ask an intimidating border guard to repeat themselves.
Really?
Yeah, wouldn't that make them more suspicious that you don't speak the language? I feel like the temptation to just nod and say yes to make the interaction end is overwhelming.
I strongly refute that, and so does the guide. That is exactly how people end up in secondary interrogation rooms facing deportation.
Wait, really? Just by nodding?
Yes. Legally speaking, answering yes to a question you did not understand at a border is tantamount to a confession.
Oh my gosh. Because if the question was, are you carrying any commercial goods for resale? And you nod and smile, yes.
You have just formally declared that you are importing goods for business purposes while holding a tourist visa.
Oh, wow.
That is a violation of immigration law. Your luggage will be dismantled, your digital devices may be searched, and your entry can be denied on the spot.
Just because you wanted to be polite.
Exactly. Guessing or just nodding yes is a disastrous mistake. The temporary embarrassment of asking for clarification is the only logical shield you have.
Absolutely. So the phrase to memorize is, can you repeat that, please? I want to make sure I understand correctly.
Yes. This does not project weakness. It projects an understanding of the gravity of the situation. It tells the officer that you respect the legal process enough to ensure your answers are accurate. They deal with language barriers constantly. They will simply rephrase the question.
It's about respecting the system's need for accurate data. Clarification shows confidence.
Precisely.
Now, assuming you provide that data, the passport is stamped.
You're through.
You grab your suitcase from the carousel.
Okay.
But clearing immigration isn't the final hurdle.
No, it's not.
Depending on what is inside that suitcase, customs can actually be the most financially perilous part of the trip,
No, without a doubt.
especially regarding biosecurity.
This is a critical distinction to make. Immigration cares about you, but customs cares about your belongings.
Right.
If you are carrying nothing of note, the standard procedural script is a firm, clear, I have nothing to declare.
Oh.
However, as the source material highlights, the rules around organic matter are fiercely strict in many regions.
Right. Countries with isolated ecosystems or massive agricultural industries, like the United States, Australia, and New Zealand, they do not mess around with biosecurity laws.
They absolutely do not.
You might think an apple you saved from the airplane breakfast or a vacuum-sealed sausage from your hometown is completely harmless.
But to a customs official, that apple is a potential vector for agricultural disease.
Wow.
If you fail to declare organic items in Australia, for instance, the immediate on-the-spot fines can be astronomical.
And your visa can be canceled, right?
Yes. The operational rule of thumb at customs is, if you possess even a fraction of a doubt, declare it.
The scripts here are simple but protective.
Mm-hmm.
I have some food items in my suitcase. Are they allowed? Or I'm carrying some medication. Do I need to declare it?
Exactly.
You are offloading the decision-making onto the expert. The absolute worst-case scenario if you declare an apple is that they throw it in the trash.
Right.
The worst-case scenario if you hide it is a $1,000 fine.
By asking the question, you legally protect yourself from accusations of smuggling or deceit. You remain an informed, compliant traveler navigating the system.
Okay, so we've mapped out the ideal path through the machine.
We have.
But travel is inherently vulnerable to external forces.
Oh, sure.
A massive storm rolls in over the Atlantic. The plane has a mechanical failure. Your flight is abruptly canceled. The whole plan disintegrates. When an airline system fails, the environment becomes highly chaotic.
Managing a logistical crisis in a second language is the ultimate stress test.
I can't even imagine.
But even in a crisis, the airline operates on procedural logic.
Okay.
When a flight is canceled, hundreds of panicked passengers rush the desk, venting their frustration, crying, or vaguely demanding help. The gate agents are totally overwhelmed.
So how do you cut through that noise?
You deploy specific industry terminology that signals you are initiating a procedural protocol.
Tell me more.
You step up and say, "My flight has been canceled. What are my options?" Followed by, "When is the next available flight?"
What are my options? It's a very grounding phrase.
It is.
It stops the agent from just apologizing and forces them to open their rebooking software.
Exactly.
And if they tell you the next flight isn't until the following morning, you don't just sleep on the floor.
No.
You use the phrase overnight delay accommodation.
Right.
Or if you want to book a different airline entirely, you ask, can I get a refund instead of a rebooking?
And if the delay is caused by the airline itself, not weather, you introduce the word compensation. My flight has been delayed by 4 hours. Is there any compensation available?
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Asking for compensation feels like asking a brick wall to move.
It can feel that way.
Are these scripts actually enough to force a massive airline to help you?
Yes. So it's less about proving your fluency and more about triggering the airline's internal algorithms.
Okay.
When you buy a ticket, you're entering a legal contract of carriage. By using exact phrases like compensation and refund instead of rebooking, you are signaling to the gate agent that you know your rights.
You understand the terms of that contract.
Exactly. You instantly shift the power dynamic from confused tourist to informed traveler.
You're giving them the exact inputs they need to output a hotel voucher or a meal ticket rather than just brushing you off.
Precisely. You elevate yourself to an informed consumer advocating for their contractual rights. The vocabulary is the lever that moves the corporate machinery.
That is brilliant. Which brings this entire journey full circle. The language is a tool to be used, not an obstacle to be feared. The anxiety of the international airport doesn't stem from a lack of intelligence or even a fundamental lack of language skills.
No, not at all.
It stems from the illusion of chaos. We walk through those sliding doors, hear the noise, see the crowds, and our brains tell us we are in an unpredictable wilderness.
But as the source material proves, it is the exact opposite.
Right.
It is a closed system with highly predictable choke points: navigation, security, immigration, customs, and customer service.
Yeah.
If you approach those choke points armed with the exact procedural scripts required to clear them, the environment loses its power to intimidate you. You stop reacting to the airport and you begin operating it.
You decode the system.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean? Which leaves me with a final thought for us to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
If an environment as massive, loud, and inherently stressful as an international airport is actually just a perfectly formulaic system, one that can be entirely demystified simply by learning a few standardized procedural sentences,
Right.
what other highly intimidating systems in our lives are we unnecessarily panicking about just because we haven't learned the script yet?
Oh, that's a great question.
Think about it. When we walk into a sprawling bureaucratic hospital or sit down across from a loan officer at a massive bank, our amygdalas flare up.
We feel small.
We feel small, confused, and overwhelmed. But are those environments actually chaotic? Or are they just another set of assembly lines and algorithmic machines?
Just waiting for the right inputs.
Exactly. Maybe we aren't out of our depth at all. Maybe we just haven't learned the script yet. Next time you feel your confidence evaporating in a high-pressure room, remember the airport. Look for the baseline, find the procedural logic, and just speak the inputs.